Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new bullet journal setup. This is actually my first on this channel, since I didn't film my first ever setup in the beginning of 2020. So this starter notebook that I got from a shop called Akademibokhandeln here in Sweden is now full, and I will head over to this Leuchtturm 1917 in this beautiful golden color. It was actually a limited edition color, so I was very excited to get my hands on that. And it's my first time using a notebook from this brand as well, and I've heard pretty good things about it, so I was super pumped to try something new out. It has these two bookmarks that will come in handy, and also dotted pages that are a bit brighter than my last bullet journal, thankfully, and also numbered pages and a little pocket in the back. To my surprise, these notebooks also comes with a inbuilt index, and I will fill out that later on off camera. Now let's begin this setup by writing down my name in case I lose it. This step is always so nerve-wracking for some reason, since it's the first thing you will see when opening up the journal, and I don't want to mess up something as simple as my name, but thankfully it went flawlessly without any errors. So the theme I'm going for this time around is a pretty minimalistic style. It's not super simple, so I probably wouldn't choose to call it minimalistic, but I tried to stick with only a few different colors. I also wanted it to look handcrafted and not too perfect, because that's the charm really with bullet journaling. It doesn't have to look so perfect and smooth all the time. Therefore you will see me using a lot of craft paper in this really pretty beige color. I know it's super popular amongst bullet journalists, and I really like the vibe it brought to my setup. The other colors of my choosing was grey, black and gold, since I really like those colors together. If you've been watching me for a while, you probably know that I like to add some golden touches to pretty much all of my spreads, so that was an obvious decision. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening on screen right now. For my key, I decided to do pretty much the same style as I did in my last Buju, since I really like the look of it. It almost resembles yin and yang in some way, with this black and white circle. Oh, and I see now that I forgot to fill in the circle for task done, but I will make sure to do that later on. To be honest, I don't really rely on this page anymore, since I've been bullet journaling for almost a year now. It was more helpful in the beginning when almost everything about this was overwhelming, but now I just kinda like the look of this page in the beginning of the journal. I couldn't help adding some golden sprinkles here and there, because I think gold makes everything look so much better. So the next page is a cover page, I guess. I just wrote out 2020 in these big sized numbers and filled it in with my Tombow för den Önske, because I really wanted to add some white over the black, and I know that my Tombow dual brush pen doesn't work well with a white gel pen. As you may have figured out, this journal is only for the next 3 months, so I will head over to another new journal for 2021. That feels so weird to say, 2021. But so yeah, this journal will be pretty short-lived, but I will make sure to find some other usage for it. Maybe a diary or something. Oh, and guys, I found this really pretty golden envelope when I went through some stuff that my family didn't want, and I knew instantly that I wanted to include it in this setup. So in here I will put some notes when I feel like it for the rest of the year. It can be like some encouraging notes to myself for the future, maybe a secret that I have, or just anything that I find funny. If I'm going to be honest with you here, I did not like the look of this. of this white on the black. It kind of looks like those lines on the road. I don't know what it's called, but not very pretty. And yeah, here I'm just gluing 2 pages together because the Leuchtturm doesn't have very thick pages, so it's very see-through. That's one thing that I don't like about it, but that's easily fixed with a glue stick. Now onto a page that I've dreaded for so long. I've seen this in so many setups, but never really got a hang of it myself. But I searched around on Pinterest for inspiration and kind of understood how it was meant to be made. It's not a good idea for me to explain how you make it, but I bet there's videos about that somewhere out there. Now you can see what I meant with the beige craft paper. It's such a nice touch if you want your spreads to pop, and you could even use old book pages instead, even though I feel sorry for the book, but I bet that would look really cute as well. I decided to write out grid spacing cheat sheet on top with 3 different colors, and also some sprinkles with the white gel pen, and I must say that I'm in love with how the white comes out on top of the craft paper. It's so bright, unlike when I use it on top of my black brush pens. For quotes, I wanted something really encouraging that I can read whenever I go through these pages. So for this page I choose "You're in charge of your own happiness." And that's something I've been telling myself recently. I bet there is some quote like this out there, but I kind of came up with it myself. And I think it's so important with self-love, guys. I've been working hard on my self-esteem recently, and it's nice to have this in the back of my head because it's so true. There's no one else that can create happiness for yourself other than you. You can make anything happen if you just believe in yourself, and you should, because you are amazing just as you are. Sorry for being so cheesy, guys, but self-love is something I know can be a bit tricky from time to time, but know that you can write to me anytime if you want to talk, either in the comment section or on my Instagram. Okay, so next page is my 2020 at a glance, and this is always the most time-consuming page, since you have to write down all the little numbers for the mini calendars. But it's worth it since the end result looks so cute, and it's always nice to have in your calendar if you want to look up a specific date or just use it as a reference when you set up your monthly spreads. You will see in just a few seconds that I unfortunately miscalculated the spacing for the mini calendars. I guess a grid spacing page isn't enough for me. But no, seriously, I was so annoyed when I noticed it, so I didn't have the energy to start over this page. So I left it as it is, and I guess it's not that visible, but I just wanted to warn you in case you want to do the same setup for your journal, so that you think of leaving enough space for the numbers. But other than that, I do like the look of this page. I love using my Fudonosuke heart tip for the small size calligraphy. I would really like to suggest that you try it out if you haven't already, because it was really a game changer for me. Because other than calligraphy usage, it can work well with a white gel pen, and I have found out that it's not too many pens that works with white gel pens. So that's a big plus for that. I get so stressed when I see errors like I've made on this page, because I'm always such an perfectionist. It's a hard word to say, but I hope that you don't think it's too big of a deal. I added some golden sprinkles in the upper part of the page to compensate a bit. The next page is for my reflection on the beginning of 2020, from January to September, and also a goal section for what I want to achieve from October to December. And I really am hopeful for the last 3 months of this year. I mean, fall and winter is such a cozy time of the year, and there's so much happening with both Halloween and Christmas and all the other stuff. So hopefully we can forget about Corona for a while at least. And let's hope that it will be gone until 2021. Have you also been thinking about how 2020 has been both the fastest and most uneventful year yet? It's really been passing by so quickly, and I'm kind of having a hard time processing it all. It really makes me want to stop for a while and appreciate what I have in front of me. Therefore, this page will be perfect for me, so that I can reflect on what parts of this very unusual year that has been good, and what I want the rest of the year to look like. This next page is a progress tracker for Instagram, YouTube and my writing. I did the same style here with the beige craft paper, golden marker and a white gel pen. Other than that, this page is pretty simple. This is also my first time using this kind of tracker, since I didn't need anything like this while setting up my last journal. But I think it will be a nice way keeping track of when I gain a special amount of followers and can fill in the little boxes with the numbers in it. And for you who didn't know, I'm currently writing on a dystopian novel that I've been working on since 3 years back, I think. So it has been a work in progress for quite a long time now, and to be honest, writing is not my biggest priority right now. My idea was that during quarantine I had plenty of time finishing it, since I do work on the second draft, but there's something about this year that has sucked all inspiration from me, at least when it comes to my writing, and I don't want to stress anything because I know that it won't come out in the best way possible if I do. So I'm taking my time, and hopefully I will be able to write my progress in the writing tracker, but if I don't, it's not the whole world. I was thinking of doing book related videos as well, maybe a bookshelf tour or something like that. Would you be interested in seeing videos like that as well, or do you think I should stick to only bullet journaling on this channel? Let me know in the comments and I will figure something out. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on here. I decided to leave my ruler alone for most of these spreads because I wanted this setup to look handmade, but I've noticed that my hands are so shaky and I find it so hard doing straight lines for some reason. But these boxes kind of turned out okay either way, and I used my grey Tombow, which is one of my favorite colors of all my dual brush pens, and do these little boxes inside of the big boxes where I will write out the different numbers of followers that I wished to reach. And of course I used a golden marker since the grey didn't really pop as I wanted, and then just used this calligraphy font for headers. And the number of followers that I write down in the boxes is not anything that I expect to reach. It's just wishful thinking, and it would just be a very pleasant surprise if I do reach these goals at the end of this year. So, onto the next page, I created a well-used spread that I've enjoyed using in my monthly setups. It's a brain dump page where I can write down anything that comes up in my mind that I need to remember. And I I decided to divide these into two categories, YouTube and personal. So the YouTube column is for content ideas, like what videos I want to produce for you, and the personal one can be for anything, like something important that I don't want to forget, or if I just come up with an idea for my book, for example. So hopefully this page will help me get more organized, since I often think of ideas that I later forget because I don't write them down. And for the font I used this grey brush pen and then wrote over it with a fine liner. This is one of my favorite fonts and it's so simple and barely take any time to make. Okay, so there's not many pages left now, guys, and for this next page I made a favorite section where I can write down any new movies, series and books that I've watched and read recently, and I also squeezed in a piano column as well. I started playing the piano in the beginning of this year, and I really found it helpful to have a piano section in my last journal, so I definitely wanted to include it this time as well. So if I hear a song that I want to learn, I can just write it down here and check it off my list whenever I've learned it. Here I used little bits of craft paper that I took from scraps so that I didn't have to throw that away, and then used the white gel pen on top and then made 4 boxes underneath. I felt like I didn't have enough quotes for this setup, so I decided to make room for one next to my favorites page. And for you who is following my art Instagram, you may recognize this quote from there. It says, "Don't just exist, live," and that's a quote that I really try to live after. It's so easy to just look forward to things in the future and forget to live now. But if you just try to live in the moment, I promise you that you will find at least one special thing about every moment. Like for example, during this pandemic, I've loved taking long walks with my family, and that's something I didn't think so much about before, but that I appreciate so much more now. So now we have a new idea that I came up with in the middle of making this setup. Ever since I was little, I've loved writing down my life in a diary, but that's something that I've neglected recently, so I thought why not leave some space for every month that's left of this year so I can write down my feelings. So these next few pages is very simple, but I will fill them in as the months go by, and I think it will be a nice touch to have this journal in the future so that I can both see what I did each month in my calendar spreads, but also read about how I felt during these times. Especially during this corona pandemic, I think 2020 will be remembered by all for a very long time forward. So I used my Tombow Furunosuke hard tip for the headers, and I've actually gotten myself the soft tip as well, but I think that this hard tip one is so much easier to control, therefore I will stick to it until I learn how to control the other one better. And I know that these pages look a bit boring, but it will look way more nice when I fill them in later on. And I wanted as much space as possible, so I didn't make any fancy doodles or anything like that. For the last spread of this setup, I made a themes of 2020, where I can fill in 12 boxes with all the different themes and doodles that I've used during 2020. And it's a nice way to get an overview of what you've been up to in your journal throughout the year. I will not fill in these boxes in this video. I'm thinking of doing a separate video about that, but I'm not sure yet. Would you like to see a video about that where I can chat about anything in the background, or should I just do it privately and post it over at Instagram? Let me know in the comments. Now we are close to the end of this video, and for you who stick to the end of this, I just wanted to thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you did like it. Next video that I will post over here is my October plan with me, and I really hope that you will enjoy that as well. I'm really going for a creepy Halloween theme, since Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, so I'm super pumped for that. But yeah, here is the final flip through of this setup, and if you decide to do something similar in your journal, I would love it if you could tag me on Instagram so that I could see. Stay safe until next time, guys. Bye!